The December winds howled across the California mission lands, but Lucia Martinez felt only the bitter cold of isolation. 17 years a widow, 17 years since anyone touched her with tenderness. The townspeople whispered she was too proud, too wealthy, too untouchable. They didn't understand. Lucia wasn't proud. She was exhausted from protecting her heart. Her hacienda stretched vast under gray winter skies, cattle dotting the frozen fields like dark stones. Inside, every timber beam held memories of laughter long silenced. Her bed remained empty, her heart locked away like treasure no one sought. Then one frozen evening, a rider collapsed at her gate. Lucia dropped her water bucket and ran. The young vaquero slumped against his horse, blood staining his torn shirt, face pale as death. "Señora," he gasped, "water, please, for mercy's sake." "You're bleeding," Lucia said, her rancher's eyes assessing the wound. "Just a scratch," he tried, joking, but his knees buckled. She caught him with surprising strength for a woman of 55. "Easy now. What's your name?" "Miguel," he breathed. "Miguel Sandoval." If you're enjoying this winter tale of unexpected love, please like this video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe for more emotional stories. But as Lucia helped Miguel inside, she didn't see the three riders watching from the hilltop, their faces hard with vengeance. Lamplight flickered across Miguel's face as Lucia cleaned the bullet wound with practiced hands. Her kitchen smelled of cinnamon and wood smoke. "This wasn't an accident," she observed, threading the needle. Miguel nodded weakly. "Didn't expect trouble today." "Most men don't," Lucia replied, her fingers steady despite the intimacy of touching him. His eyes studied her face, not assessing her wealth or judging her age, but seeing her, really seeing her. Lucia's breath caught. "You'll stay tonight," she said firmly. Miguel protested. "I'll bring danger here. You can barely stand. I won't turn away someone bleeding at my door." They ate together at her wooden table. Miguel's hands trembled lifting the spoon, but he ate like a starving man. "Been riding long?" Lucia asked. "Days," Miguel said softly. "Running from something I can't outrun forever." Lucia saw beyond the dirt and weariness. Fear lived in his eyes, yes, but also something gentle, something that made her 17 years of loneliness suddenly feel unbearable. She showed him to the guest room, her heart pounding strangely. "Rest. We'll talk morning." Hours later, rain drummed the roof. Lucia lay awake, listening to Miguel settling upstairs. Her house felt alive again. She touched her cold pillow and wondered if she dared hope. Morning came with surprise. Instead of silence, Lucia found Miguel carrying firewood, moving carefully but determined. "Thought I'd help," he said shyly. "Least I can do." No man had worked beside her since her husband died. The help felt strange, wonderful, terrifying. "Breakfast is ready," she managed, hiding her smile. They ate together again. Color had returned to Miguel's face. "Why do you live alone out here?" he asked gently. "Life didn't unfold as I imagined," Lucia replied. "No children?" "No. Some seeds never take root, no matter how much you water them." Miguel looked down respectfully. Lucia noticed his hands, calloused from real work, not gambling or drinking. She liked that. Later, they rode the pasture together. Miguel moved in the saddle like someone born to horses. He studied her cattle with knowing eyes. "Fine stock," he said. "Takes wisdom to run an operation like this." Warmth spread through Lucia's chest. "Just doing what needs doing." Miguel dismounted to fix a broken fence post. Lucia watched him work, feeling something dangerous stirring inside her. Something alive. Loving this story? Hit that like button, share with friends who need hope, and subscribe for more tales that warm the heart. Riding back, Miguel said quietly, "Sometimes a man runs so long, he forgets what stopping feels like." Lucia's heart thundered. "You can rest here a while." That evening, storm clouds gathered. Lucia checked the barn before the weather turned. Miguel was there feeding horses, rain beginning to dampen his dark hair. He turned toward her. "You've shown me more kindness than I deserve," he said. "I haven't had a real home in years." Lucia stepped closer, storm wind whipping her skirts. "You're welcome here," she said quietly. Lightning flashed. Everything felt electric, frightening, wonderful. Miguel reached up slowly, giving her time to refuse. Lucia didn't move away. His rough hand touched her cheek. "Sierra," he whispered, then caught himself. "Lucia." Before either thought better of it, she rose on her toes and kissed him. Soft, surprising, a flame after years of cold ashes. When they pulled apart, both were breathless. The storm raged outside, but a different storm raged inside Lucia. One she couldn't control and didn't want to. For the first time in 17 years, she felt alive. Thunder cracked overhead. Miguel pulled her close, sheltering her from the rain. "I don't deserve this," he whispered against her hair. "Neither do I," Lucia breathed. "But maybe that's why it's right." But as they stood together in the barn, neither noticed the shadow watching from the hacienda gate, a man with a scar and murder in his eyes. The storm passed, but the storm inside Lucia raged on. She woke before dawn, heart still racing from Miguel's kiss. She dressed and went to the kitchen, fearing he'd vanished in the night. Instead, she found him preparing breakfast, like he'd always belonged there. "Hope you don't mind," Miguel said, smiling slightly. "Thought I'd get started." Their eyes met. Both remembered the kiss. Neither spoke of it yet. After breakfast, Miguel insisted on working. He repaired shutters, mended fences, swept the barn until it gleamed. Days passed. Miguel settled into ranch life like a man finally finding solid ground. He joked with the livestock, named the stubborn rooster Capitan, somehow befriended the aloof barn cat. Lucia found herself laughing again, real laughter filling her quiet halls. But with happiness came fear. One afternoon, Lucia watched Miguel from the window, shirt-sleeved, hammering a new gateboard, sweat darkening his back. He looked like someone who belonged to the land, who belonged to her. She touched the window pane, heart trembling with hope she hadn't felt in years. That evening, as orange sunset bled across the prairie, Miguel leaned against the porch rail thoughtfully. "Are you feeling the emotion? Please like, share this beautiful story, and subscribe for more content that touches the soul." "Lucia," he said slowly, "I want to stay. Not just until I'm healed. Longer." Her breath caught. "How much longer?" "As long as you'll have me." Lucia stared at Miguel, fighting the happiness rising inside her. "Why?" she asked softly. "You don't owe me anything." Miguel looked out at the land. "For the first time in my life, I don't feel like I'm running. I feel like I finally stopped running." His words hung in the air like answered prayer. She stepped closer. "This ranch, it's a lot to take on." "I'm not afraid of work," he whispered. "No," Lucia said, voice unsteady. "I mean, it's a lot to take on with me." Miguel turned, meeting her eyes. "Lucia, I see you. Not just the ranch. Not just the strong woman everyone respects. I see you." The wind stilled. Lucia's heartbeat filled her ears. Miguel took her hands gently. "I want to court you properly. And if one day you'll have me, I want to build a life here with you." Lucia swallowed hard. She was 55. He was barely 30. What right did she have to dream? Yet here he stood, offering everything she'd silently wished for. "You're so young, Miguel," she whispered. "You could have a wife your own age, children, a different future." Miguel shook his head. "I thought I wanted that once. Someone young who needed me to lead." His voice softened. "But then I met you. A woman who doesn't need saving. A woman who chooses me anyway." She felt her defenses cracking. But could she truly trust this? Miguel's thumb brushed the back of her hand, slow and tender. "You make me feel like the man I want to be." Lucia felt walls crumbling, walls built stone by stone over years of solitude. But fear remained sharp in her chest. "I have secrets, Miguel," she admitted, "things I've never told anyone." "Whatever they are," Miguel said, "they won't scare me off." Lucia hesitated, weighing caution against desire. "I'm not what I seem," she warned. "People think I live modestly because I must, but I choose to live this way." Miguel frowned. "What do you mean?" Lucia took a slow breath. "This hacienda, many of the businesses in town, they're mine, all mine. I don't display my wealth. It changes how people see me." Miguel stared, surprise flickering across his features. "You're wealthy." "Very," Lucia admitted, bracing herself. Miguel was silent for a long moment. Then he stepped closer, looking into her eyes. "I didn't fall for your money," he said. "I fell for the woman who wakes before dawn to milk her own cows, who works harder than any vaquero, who cooks me dinner and worries if I'm warm enough. That's the woman I'm asking to stand beside." Touched by this beautiful moment? Please like, share with someone who believes in true love, and subscribe for more heartfelt stories. Relief flooded Sierra's shoulders, years of fear loosening. Miguel smiled, slow and sure, and touched her cheek. "I don't want your money, Lucia. I want you." But approaching hoofbeats shattered the moment. Thunder rolled, not from sky, but from the road leading to the hacienda. Hoofbeats, hard, fast, angry. Miguel stiffened instantly, hand going to his side where his pistol should be. Lucia felt her throat tighten. "Miguel, who would come at this hour?" Miguel's voice dropped low and tense. "Men I left behind in Monterey. Men who believed that gunfight was murder, not self-defense." Lucia's heart lurched. The past Miguel tried outrunning had found him, riding straight toward their door. The hoofbeats grew louder, pounding like thunder across the plains. Lucia and Miguel stepped off the porch, eyes fixed on dark riders approaching through dusk. 3 men on horseback slowed at the gate. Their horses snorted, pawing dirt. They wore hard expressions, hats low, pistols visible at their belts. The leader, tall man with a scar down his cheek, called out, "We're looking for Miguel Sandoval." Miguel stepped forward, shoulders squared. "You found him." The scarred man grinned, without warmth. "You ran after that fight in Monterey. That ain't how things end. You owe us." Lucia felt fear's sharp sting, but also something else, fury. These men invaded her home, her land, threatening the vaquero she'd dared hope for. Miguel moved in front of her protectively. "I owe you nothing. That fight was fair. I won it." "That ain't what the Patron thinks," the man replied coldly. "And the Patron wants what's his." Before violence erupted, Lucia stepped forward. "This is private land," she said, voice strong. "You boys can keep riding, or we can finish this in town with the alcalde." The scarred man sneered. "Lady, money might buy you much, but it won't buy him out of this." Lucia's eyes flashed. She stood taller, unafraid. "I am not the buying kind," she said, "but I protect what's mine." Miguel's breath caught. "What's mine?" The men shifted uneasily, glancing around the hacienda. Something about Lucia's confidence made them hesitate. She looked like a woman who'd faced storms before and never bowed. "If you try taking him," Lucia added, "you'll regret it." The scarred man's smirk faded. Miguel stepped beside her, hand brushing hers. A quiet promise passed between them. Finally, the leader spat into the dust. "This ain't over," he growled. "We'll be back." "Then you'll be sorry," Lucia replied. The riders turned and galloped away into fading light. Silence filled the ranch again. Miguel exhaled, shaking with adrenaline. "Lucia, you shouldn't have." "I will not hide from anyone," she said firmly, "and I won't let them take you." Miguel stared at her like she was the fiercest thing he'd ever seen. "You'd risk your hacienda? Your life? For me?" Lucia touched his cheek with gentle fingers. "You said you wanted to help carry this place's weight. I want to help carry yours." Emotion shook Miguel's voice. "I haven't had anyone stand for me in a long time." "You do now," Lucia whispered. Miguel leaned his forehead against hers, the moment holding them close. "I love you, Lucia Martinez," he breathed. "Every day I've been here, that feeling grew stronger." Lucia's eyes burned with tears she refused to hide. "I love you too, Miguel. I never thought I'd feel this again." He kissed her, slow, deep, full of every wound and every hope they carried. When they parted, Lucia wiped her eyes with a small laugh. "If you plan to stay," she teased lightly, "there's something you should know." "What's that?" Miguel asked, still breathless. Lucia took his hand and placed it over her heart. "This place is yours too now. Not because you asked, but because you earned it." Miguel swallowed hard. "I'll spend every morning and night proving you made the right choice." They stood together as stars emerged one by one, the land peaceful once more. The danger hadn't vanished. Miguel's past would return someday. But they would face it side by side. Moved by this powerful love story? Please like, share with others who need inspiration, and subscribe for more emotional tales. Later that night, windows open with winter air drifting through, Miguel lay beside Lucia for the first time. Not as a stranger seeking shelter, not as a runaway, but as the man she'd chosen. She looked at Miguel in the moonlight. The scars on his chest had healed, but she knew deeper wounds remained. "Take it easy," she whispered with a smile. "I have not been loved in years." Miguel laughed softly, kissed her hand, held her close. "You make me feel like I finally found home," he said. Lucia breathed in the warm scent of horses and hay, and the man who'd changed everything. "You did," she whispered. "We both did." Outside, winter wind swept across the grasslands, calm and steady. The hacienda slept under the wide California sky, stars brilliant and cold above. Morning would come with new work, new challenges, new hope. But tonight, Lucia Martinez's heart was no longer lonely. She had someone to share the dawn with. Someone who would stand beside her when trouble returned. And it would return. Men like those riders didn't forget. But Lucia was no longer afraid. She'd spent 17 years protecting herself from disappointment. Now, she had something worth protecting. Love that arrived unexpected, like winter rain on parched earth. Miguel's breathing slowed beside her, peaceful in sleep. Lucia watched him, still hardly believing this gift. She'd been strong alone for so long, but being strong together, that was something entirely different. Something worth fighting for. The candle flickered, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Lucia closed her eyes, feeling safer than she had in nearly 2 decades. The next morning, Lucia woke to find Miguel already outside, working in the cold dawn. She watched from the window as he fed the horses, breath misting in the winter air. He moved like someone who belonged, like someone home. She dressed and joined him in the barn. "You're up early," she said. Miguel turned, smiling. "Couldn't sleep. Too happy." Lucia laughed, the sound echoing in the rafters. "Too happy. I understand that feeling." They worked side by side, the morning routine now shared instead of solitary. As the sun climbed higher, warming the frozen earth slightly, they stood together looking out at the land. "They'll come back," Miguel said quietly. "Those men." "I know," Lucia replied, "and we'll be ready." Miguel squeezed her hand. "Together." "Together," she echoed. In the distance, a rider approached, but this time it was just the neighbor bringing news from town. Normal life continuing. Beautiful, ordinary, precious life. Lucia realized something profound. She'd spent years surviving. Now she was living. The difference was everything. Miguel turned to her, eyes full of love and promise.